Welcome to the Lean Blog Podcast. Visit our website at www.leanblog.org. Now, here's your host, Mark Graban.
Hi, this is Mark Graban. Welcome to the Lean Blog Podcast, episode number 66 for May 15th, 2009. Our guest today will be Joe Rizzo, the chairman of the AME, Association for Manufacturing Excellence Annual Conference, to be held in Kentucky, October 19th to 23rd. Before we talk to Joe, I want to introduce a sponsor for today's podcast. It is MIT Professional Education and their short programs. MIT will be holding 3 short courses on campus in Cambridge this July focused on various lean concepts geared towards busy professionals. So to learn more, you can visit them on the web at shortprograms.mit.edu/lean. They have 3 courses. These are the Lean Academy course, the Lean Engineering Seminar for Product Development Engineering, and finally the Lean Healthcare Academy. These are hands-on introductions to Lean, as well as Six Sigma, the principles and tools for different settings. So again, if you want to learn more, go to shortprograms.mit.edu/lean. And now here's our guest, Joe Rizzo. Well, again, our guest today is Joe Rizzo to talk about the AME annual conference. Thanks for joining us, Joe.
It's a pleasure to be here, Mark, and thanks for inviting me.
Sure. I was wondering if you could start first, briefly introduce yourself to the audience before we talk about the conference.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm Joe Rizzo. I'm currently the Executive Director of the Jacksonville Lean Consortium, but I'm also the chairperson for the 2009 annual conference, which will take place in Covington, Kentucky, just across the river from Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been involved with AME for 19 years. I've been the president of the Northeast region for 2 terms, the vice president, board member for the Northeast region, and board member for the National Board of Directors for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And the conference itself, before we get sidetracked, if you get to mention, the dates are October 19th to the 23rd, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And if people can go, ameconference.org is the website for the conference, right?
Well, they can go to ame.org, mm-hmm. and there is a link to the conference, and they can register online. We currently have over 1,000 people registered for the conference.
Oh, great.
So we're halfway there. We have a cap of about 2,000, and we're halfway there.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, before we delve into the conference itself and what people can expect if they attend, you mentioned the Jacksonville Lean Consortium, and regular listeners of the podcast may recognize Jacksonville as being it seems a good source of lean activity. A lot of good things going on. We've talked previously with our friend, the lean dentist, Dr. Sammy Bari, and Lieutenant Randy Russell, retired from the Sheriff's Department. I was wondering if you could speak for a minute, Joe, on what's special about Jacksonville and how and why lean has spread, and maybe what role the consortium has played in that.
Okay, well, there's a very active Manufacturers Association here in Jacksonville. It's called FCMA, First Coast Manufacturers Association. And Jerry Bussell, Vice President of Global Operations for Medtronic, and Ladd Daniels, the President of FCMA, got together 4 years ago and came up with the idea to form a consortium based on lean. So for the first 3 years, we were incubated under FCMA, and last year in January, we split off, and we are now a nonprofit company. Mm-hmm. We have grown from 12 members when the consortium first got started to 50 members today. And my plan is to reach 100 members a year from now. Mm. So there's a lot of interest in lean in the consortium. We have the City of Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, the power company, JEA, the Transportation Company, JTA, WorkSource, and several other governmental agencies, but primarily we're a manufacturing group. 70% of our members are manufacturing companies.
And is the role of the consortium to just harness the resources of organizations that are already using lean, or to help spread lean, maybe in new companies, new industries, a little bit of both? How would you describe that?
Yeah, it's kind of a two-pronged approach. We have companies that have been doing lean for several years, and then there are several companies that are just starting out. But we hope to have a positive economic impact on the city of Jacksonville. Jacksonville is growing quite rapidly. Starting last year, we have 2 new container ports coming into Jacksonville. Our total capacity will be over 250,000 containers. I'm not sure what the unit is on that, but it's basically tripling the capacity of containers coming into Jacksonville. And we're benefiting from the widening of the Panama Canal. So we now will be the southernmost container port for the United States and able to serve South America and Africa. Okay,
and getting back to the AME conference, I'm a proud member of the AME. I really like what the organization stands for, and the Target magazine is outstanding, and I really appreciate being a member of AME. I'm a little embarrassed to say, unfortunately, I've never had the opportunity to attend annual event, so I'm sure there's probably a lot of people in my situation. So I wonder if you could describe to the listeners, what makes the AME conference unique, and what you think some of the highlights would be this year for why people should consider attending.
Well, in general, AME provides an opportunity for attendees to hear about people that are progressing and very successful in their businesses, primarily because of lean and other activities. But it's a great networking event. It's a great event to learn from the best of the best. It's a great event to meet the speakers, the keynote speakers, and also the presenters for the 6 or 7 different flights that we offer. There's always a lot of takeaways. There's always a list of things that people can learn at the conference and bring back to their place of work. We have what we call a learning journal, and it helps the people make notes, keep track of the events that they attended, and develop a list of contacts of people that they can network with after the conference. Another big value are the plant tours, where people can visit a number of different plants and listen to the stories at each of the different plant sites, tour the facilities, and then the big value is talking to the people on the floor. See if the company actually walks the talk, and talk to the workers and see how involved the company really is in lean, and see what benefit they're getting out of the lean programs.
Do you know, at this point, maybe we say Kentucky, is Toyota part of the list of tours, or what other companies do you have signed up or hope to get signed up?
Well, we currently have 25 confirmed tours, and with the 25 confirmed tours, we have a capacity to tour 1,400 people. We have 10 more tours that we're working on. One of them is the Toyota Georgetown plant. We have a pretty good confidence that we will be able to tour the Toyota plant. But currently we have Cincinnati Machine, we have ESCO, Goodrich Corporation, SKF Bearings, Johnson Control, Mazak, Miller Brewing, Batesville Casket, Jim Beam, and several other plants. One interesting thing about plant tours this year, we got a lot of response last year that people wanted to tour non-manufacturing facilities or non-manufacturing companies. So we have several of those lined up. One of them is Fidelity Investments. They have a large center in Cincinnati, and we'll be able to tour that.
I wonder if there's possibility, people are interested, if there's a hospital in the area that's been using lean. Maybe that's something we could even work together on trying to line up if that's something of interest to people.
That would be of interest. We actually have a company that makes beds for hospitals, and we can try and tie that in with one of the major hospitals in the Cincinnati area.
Yeah.
Lean for hospitals is growing. It's growing fast. And lean for healthcare in general is another topic that's growing fast.
Sure.
It's something I'm working on in Jacksonville. We haven't quite got it to the annual conference yet, but it's on the list.
Okay. And you mentioned speakers. I see on the website, for one, there's a call for presentations. So there's a chance at this point still for people listening, if they want to come talk about their company story, their lean journey. Looks like there's an opportunity for people to come and present. But who do you have lined up at this point as a keynote speaker or key presenter?
Okay, the keynote speakers, we have 8 of them lined up. The first will be Alvin Law. He's a motivational speaker. He was born with some severe physical handicaps, and he's overcome any and all obstacles to be a very successful speaker and a motivational speaker. We also have Keith Williams. He's the CEO of Underwriter Laboratories. We have Bob Chapman. He's the CEO of, let's see, the name escapes me right now, but I'll come back to him. Dr. McNeely, who's the CEO of Chicago Tube and Iron. Jerry Bussell, Vice President of Global Operations for Medtronic ENT. Dr. Sami Bari, the world's first lean dentist.
Yeah.
And our closing keynote speaker will be Marilyn Carlson Nelson. She's the chairman of the board, past CEO of the Carlson Empire. And this includes all the 4- and 5-star hotels, primarily the Park Hotels, the Park Plaza Hotels, Radisson Hotels. She also runs a marketing company and a travel agency. And she's taken the company from, I think it's $12 billion when she took over to over $40 billion right now. So a very successful woman. And I forgot to mention the theme of our conference is Journey to Greatness. And this is a transition from the Toronto theme, from good to great. So all of these speakers are on the journey to greatness or have made the journey to greatness. And Marilyn Carlson Nelson is one of those that has made the journey. She has taken her company to one of very prominent status, and certainly can be considered great. So I'm very interested to hear her story, and I think all the attendees would be very interested to hear her story also. Bob Chapman has taken Barry Weimiller to a position of greatness. Keith Williams has taken a 76-year-old company to a position of greatness. Dr. McNeely, most people think the steel industry is dead in the United States, but Dr. McNeely has a different opinion, and he has taken his company from the brink of disaster to a position of greatness. So all of these people either have made the journey to greatness or are on the journey to greatness, and the attendees can learn a lot from these people.
And you talk about journey to greatness. I mean, I think again, AME is a really great organization for learning about and helping promote lean. I believe this is the 25th anniversary of AME, and so if you talk a little bit about kind of the focus on the future for AME and the series of annual conferences.
Okay. Well, 25 years is a significant milestone for AME, and we are going to take a little bit of time to recognize the past 25 years. But the majority of the conference will focus on the future. And the future right now is unknown and cloudy because of all the changes that are taking place through the new administration, but also through changes in the global economy. So as I like to say to people, the rules of how we do business, both in the United States and the globe, are being rewritten. And we really cannot look back to the past to predict the future. We really are facing an unknown future. There are no guidelines. It will be completely different from what we've experienced in the past. So we have to focus on those things that we know are successful, that will lead to success. One of them is innovation. And we have Sarah Miller Caldecott, the grandniece of Thomas Edison, will be one of the presenters during one of the flights. Mm-hmm. And she will talk about innovation and highlight the fact that Thomas Edison started 6 industries, and 5 of them are still in existence today. And so there's a tremendous need for innovation in order to be viable and successful in the future. So that's just one thing. The second will be dependence on our suppliers, because none of us are totally vertically integrated, and we have a number of suppliers that we have to depend on. So we have a flight called supply chain, and we have speakers from CSCMP, the supply chain management group, has identified 3 speakers to speak for us and highlight the importance of supply chain going forward. So we're going to be focusing on the future and those factors that will help people be viable and successful in the future. But another interesting topic that we're going to surface for the first time is a topic called compression. And this is Doc Hall, one of the founders of AME's, new book. And it's really tough to get your mind around compression. So we're having Doc talk about it in a special interest session because it's a very challenging topic to get your mind around. Mm-hmm. And basically it talks about doing more with less, but from an environmental standpoint, fewer raw materials, less energy sources, and so on. Mm-hmm. And basically it talks about how to survive when growth is no longer an option. Except for the United States, most of the industrial world today is experiencing declining populations or shrinking populations. Mm-hmm. So growth can no longer be an option going forward. It might be 10 years from now, it might be 50 years from now, it might be 100 years from now. But somewhere out in the future, growth will no longer be an option. And Doc Hall addresses this and talks about it, presents a case on why this is going to happen and what we can do in a completely different environment. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a really new topic that we'll be introducing at the conference.
Well, thanks for sharing some of the highlights and what people can expect from the AME conference, October 19th to 23rd in Covington, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio. Our guest again has been Joe Rizzo, the Executive Director of the Jacksonville Lean Consortium and the Chairman for this year's conference. So again, if you can remind us, Joe, on websites for both the conference and if people by chance want to learn more about the Lean Consortium, what those addresses are.
Okay, for the conference it's www.ame.org, and there's a link to the 2009 annual conference on that website. And then the Jacksonville Lean Consortium is www.leanjax.org, leanjax.org. And there's also a link to the conference on that website.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Well, thanks for joining us, and good luck with both the conference and all the good work in Jacksonville. Be sure to say hi to our fellow Lean podcast friends the next time you run into them there in Jacksonville.
I certainly will, Mark, and thanks for the opportunity to participate in this podcast.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Joe. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Lean Blog Podcast. For Lean news and commentary updated daily, visit www.leanblog.org. If you have any questions or comments about this podcast, email Mark at leanpodcast@gmail.com.